To you. Today, we're honored to have as our speaker, Paul Judge, a technology entrepreneur and investor who has invested in more than 30 companies and has co-founded 3 companies that were later acquired. He's currently managing partner of Panoramic Ventures and co-founder and executive chairman of Pindrop. Previously, Paul was co-founder of Tech Square Labs. He co-founded PureWire, a web security company which was acquired by Barracuda in 2008. He served as chief research officer at Barracuda through its IPO in 2013. And prior to this, Paul was chief technology officer at Cipher Trust, a leader in email security, which was acquired by Secure Computing in 2006. Paul is lead inventor of more than 30 patents. He has received many awards and was named among Fortune magazine's top 40 under 40 list. He is also a member of the 2016 class of Henry Crown Fellows, the Aspen Global Leadership Network at the Aspen Institute. He holds a master's and a PhD in computer science from Georgia Tech, and he is a proud alum from Morehouse College. And one thing you learn from him, he is not just successful, he has not just worked on his own success. He has become a mentor, an investor, a person that is committed to the success of many others. A powerful lesson for all of us to hear. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Paul Judge.
Good afternoon. I was ready to come up, but my bike wasn't quite ready to come up yet. It is a privilege and an honor to be here today to celebrate your achievements. Georgia Tech is a special place to me. It's had an indelible impact on my journey. So President Cabrera, the Board of Trustees, the distinguished faculty administration, thank you for welcoming me back and inviting me to address this remarkable class. And finally, to the class of 2021, congratulations, you did it. And you did it during an unprecedented time in history. You did it in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. You might have heard your parents tell you stories from back in the day of their long walks to school, right? It was through the snow, it was uphill. Well, now you have your own stories to share. Stories of surviving Zoom classes, surviving bad Wi-Fi, surviving... Oh, you can't hear me? I forgot to press the unmute button. Surviving all the times that you did just that, forgot to press the unmute button. Look, college is challenging enough as it is without doing it while enduring a global health crisis. But you met that challenge. You stuck with it. You kept your social distance, you wore a mask, and you plowed forward. Congratulations. So while I promise I won't keep you long today, I do want to share a handful of lessons that I've learned along the way that I hope will keep you inspired, motivated, and at least awake until the end of this. The first lesson starts right here at Georgia Tech. I was in grad school, and I met a guy that was starting a cybersecurity company, and I joined as one of the early team members. And I got there as a handful of us in a room. We were coming up with ideas and writing software and calling customers. And from nothing, over the course of 6 years, we built a company with hundreds of employees, with thousands of customers, and then it was acquired for hundreds of millions of dollars. That's where I learned the first lesson, that you can build something from nothing. Right? That's because the software and technology, it's a near pure translation from human thought to something of value. Right? You could dream something up, you could code a computer to do it for you, and then it's solving a problem. It's living, it's breathing, it's adding value, it's creating wealth. And you did it with no raw materials, right? No inheritance, no land, no lumber, no steel, none of the things that have traditionally separated the haves from the have-nots. right? Just pure creativity and execution. This is the closest thing to equal opportunity that this country has ever seen. So I encourage each of you, regardless of your background, regardless of your major, to look at how you can use technology and innovation to change the world and to go build something from nothing. The next lesson starts because I told you about the happy ending for that company, but I didn't tell you about the humble beginning. It was so humble, in fact, that it gave new meaning to start it from the bottom. You see, I wasn't offered a job as an executive with a big corner office. Instead, I was offered a junior role with a junior salary and a little junior cubicle. But they say you have to get in where you fit in. You've heard the phrase that opportunity only knocks once? Well, sometimes it doesn't knock at all, and you have to go find it. And if you don't find it, then you have to create it. So what I would do every day in this job is when I finished my coding, I would go to the person next to me and see what they were doing and how it can help. And then the next person, and when I would hear a problem in the hallway, I would ask if I could work on it that weekend. See, if you think about these big pressing problems that exist, think of them like fires burning. And when you solve that problem, you absorb all of that energy, all of that learning, all of that experience, and all of that growth. So the lesson was, when you see a big problem that needs to be solved, don't run from it. Run directly into it, like a fireman going to extinguish a fire. See, Georgia Tech has prepared you to be a thinker and a problem solver. So when you leave campus, continue to be a student of life. My next lesson comes a few years later. After that company was acquired, now I was an executive with a big corner office and I was comfortable. But I learned the lesson. Don't be comfortable, be great. Benjamin Mays once said, whatever you do, strive to do it so well that no one living, no one dead, and no one yet to be born could do it any better. Now, chasing greatness is uncomfortable. It's full of sacrifices, ups and downs. And of course, I can't tell you where your greatness will be found. I can't tell you where your dream is, but I can tell you where it's not. It's not in your comfort zone. It's not where conditions are perfect. It's not where there is no risk. In fact, to do things worth doing, you must be ready to take the road less traveled. You must be okay being contrarian, okay with people thinking that you're wrong, okay with people thinking that your ideas are crazy. Because most of the ideas that are great tomorrow are crazy today. You know, greatness isn't obvious. Greatness isn't born. It's developed. It's pursued. It takes time. It's something that you work on every single day. So keep working on it and keep chasing greatness. But the next lesson is what happens when you're chasing greatness and you encounter a point of failure along the way. I could tell you about so many times that's happened to me. I remember when I applied to Georgia Tech and didn't know if I would get in. Or when I was accepted and didn't know how I would afford it. Or when I got here and sat in class and looked around and wondered if I was good enough. I remember companies that went wrong. There was one company, we had started it and everything was going right. And then the unexpected happened. The financial markets crashed. And we couldn't raise the next round of funding in time. But here we were with 40 employees, meaning 40 families depending on us. And we were on the brink of going out of business and not making payroll. That's when we learned the lesson that when it gets hard, go harder. And so we decided that that failure point would instead be a turning point. So we made the tough decision to use all of our personal savings to keep the company alive. And over the next year, we turned it around and it was successfully acquired. See, when you're navigating treacherous waters where others have failed, if you can just persevere, you can enjoy the rewards on the other side. Perseverance is often the difference between success and failure. And while failure is the goal, while success is the goal, just making sure you're listening. I caught one person that didn't. While success is the goal, do not fear failure. Acquaint yourself with failure, with getting knocked off your feet, but getting back up. Right? We've been overwhelmed with self-doubt, imposter syndrome, but still believing. See, failure is one of our greatest teachers. It tests our fortitude. It forces us to dig deeper within ourselves. It pushes us to strive for what is sweet by giving us a taste of what is bitter. So that moment when you decide to go harder, that's when you decide to completely commit yourself to the thing that you want most before it's even clear that you can get it. Which brings me to my last lesson. Which brings me back to Georgia Tech. Several years ago, a professor called me, Professor Mustaq Ahmad, and asked me to come to campus to meet with a grad student, Vijay Balasubramanian. And when I met with Vijay, in one hand, he had a research paper that he'd written, and in the other hand, he had a job offer from a large tech company. He was faced with what we call the dreamer's dilemma, which is, are you going to take the risk of making your dream a reality, or are you going to take the safety of working on something else? And Vijay responded to that dreamer's dilemma by deciding to bet on himself. From there, we co-founded Pindrop, which 10 years later is one of the largest security companies in the country, is right next door at Tech Square. It employs over 200 people, has raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and every day protects tens of millions and hundreds of millions of people from cyber criminals. All because someone at Georgia Tech decided to bet on themselves. This has inspired me to spend my career helping other entrepreneurs chase their dreams. It's inspired me to create Panoramic Ventures. In fact, if any of you are currently facing the dreamer's dilemma, know that every month we have a competition called Startup Showdown where we invest $100,000 to help someone take the chance of chasing their dream. This spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship, it lives inside of each and every one of you. Not just the spirit of it, but the possibility of it, the reality of it. Those stories, those dreams, those ideas, they're birthed every day right here in Georgia, in Atlanta, at Georgia Tech. So as I wrap up, as you walk across this stage today, you're doing it at one of the most pivotal and consequential times in human history. You are the first class to graduate as mankind is emerging from a global pandemic. And just as things appear to be getting back to a place of normalcy, every aspect of our lives is being rewritten. Entertainment is expanding into virtual worlds and audio chat rooms. Right? The workplace is reimagined with virtual work and telework and collaboration tools. Healthcare is expanding with new vaccine types and telehealth. Social justice and diversity are being fought for with a renewed intensity. Sustainability is moving forward with electric vehicles and carbon offsets. Finance is being rewritten with Bitcoin and blockchain. Everything as you know it is being rewritten, reconsidered, and reconstructed right now. As you cross this stage and enter the world, know that Georgia Tech has prepared you for this very moment. You're joining a family of fellow dreamers and doers, and you will go on to address the world's most pressing problems. So when you have that moment, when you hear yourself wondering, why doesn't this exist? Or why doesn't this work this way? That's the universe pointing you to your purpose. And if you listen close enough, you hear the world tell you to go build something from nothing, to go run into those fires, to not be comfortable, be great, and when things get hard, go harder, and to always bet on yourself. Congratulations to the class of 2021, and thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I suspect those lessons will not be easily forgotten. And that's unusual, by the way, in a commencement ceremony. So Thank you. That was really, really special.